Alright, fellas. Let's talk about that Fallout TV show. Let's just do it real quick. It's not gonna be that quick.
Ain't no way.
I want to start from the beginning. Okay, so god dang it. I want to say what I liked about Fallout first. What I liked about it. Number one. Or should I say what I didn't like about it first?
Yeah, I don't care.
Because there were some things I didn't like about it. No, I gotta say what I liked about it first. What I liked about it was it did, in a very small way, make me, I guess, understand Fallout a hair better than I had already had. But I also feel like, unless the show is not a supremely great representation of the game, I feel like I got a lot of it already.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
What I do like, I have some things I like, dislike, and things I like and dislike at the same time. Like I like them and I dislike them at the same time. I like everything in all the vaults. I liked all the vault stuff. Every vault, I was like, let's learn more about this place. I also feel like it might be my whole thing with Lord of the Rings where I don't like leaving the Shire. It's like,
That doesn't make any sense.
I feel like it's more interesting in the safe place to me for some reason.
Shire is boring, though. I get it for vaults, but for the Shire is boring.
I don't know why either. Maybe it's just like a feel good area. I just like,
Yes.
oh, I want to see it. I want to. Why leave? Why leave to the danger?
Yeah, you're like, let's not do an inciting incident to start off the first act of a structure. No, let's just
Literally.
stay at that comfortable beginning.
And it's funny because for both The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Although The Hobbit, I think, still maintains the Shire tone a little bit further out of the Shire, whereas Lord of the Rings is like, we're out the Shire. It's now dark and scary. But yeah. So there's that. Let's see, what else I like. There was also the... I actually kind of like how... I feel like we should have spent more time in the Wasteland, even though I hate Wastelands. Because I feel like the show makes a really good argument for the Wasteland. And I'm like, you know what? I like your arguments about the Wasteland. I kind of like the Wasteland a little bit better. I kind of wish I got to see more of the Wasteland. Because other than that, because like you just see people walking in the desert. I'm like, okay, you're walking through the desert. It's about as I expected of a wasteland. And I at first hated that, but then at the end I was like, maybe the wasteland ain't so bad. Yeah. All right, so here's my biggest thing that I like / dislike. Like, is of both. Is Maximus / Mike Titus.
I like him a lot.
Okay, here's my problem, mother effer. So in the beginning, when you're not 100% positive whether or not he put the razor blade in his friend's boot, like, he said he didn't do it. It seems like they believed him. His friend seemed like he believed him. But you, as a viewer, are not 100% sure, like, I don't know if he did or didn't do it. I like that impetus, because then when you see him kill or watch Mike Titus die, then it feels like 2 coins stacked against Maximus. But then when you find out he didn't put the razor blade in the shoe, then that makes the total of bad things he's done down to 1, and that 1, you're like, well, F Mike Titus, he was a jerk anyway. And so now it's down to 0. And I kind of like that, but I also kind of hate it, because it's like, oh, so you made me wait 10 episodes to find out, or 8 episodes, to find out whether or not I like this character, and I don't know, I just feel like it's too much of a jump of how much I disliked him versus how much I'm now supposed to like him, / I did genuinely like him, based on just
no point
a piece
was
of
his
information.
actions going to inform whether or not I liked him in regards to the shoe or Knight Titus. Also, are you saying Knight Titus? It sounds like you're saying Mike Titus.
I'm
like
saying Mike.
Tyson. Why?
Mike. M-I-K-E, Titus?
Why?
Is that not it?
Knight Titus.
Knight?
Is rank.
Oh
He's
my
rank.
god.
He is a knight. He is Knight
Oh
Titus.
my! I thought his name was
You calling
Mike
him Mike
Titus.
Titus like Mike Tyson?
I thought his name was Mike Titus the entire time. His name's not Mike Titus. So he's just saying, "I'm Knight Titus."
I'm Knight Titus.
I like Mike Titus better. I literally watched that entire show thinking of him as Mike Titus. That I
That's
am.
racist.
No, it's not. His name's Mike. Is that Max? It's literally whatever. But yeah, I kind of like that. I like the like. So why did you like him then before, or why did that not factor into whether or not you liked him?
I like his naivete. I like his he wants to be a hero. He's like Deku in a very, this isn't My Hero Academia. This is Fallout, and he's like thinking Deku. He's like, I want to be a hero.
Right?
I want to be
Yeah.
a knight
I
in
guess.
shining armor. I like that a lot.
Man. I guess. I just wasn't sold on who he was yet until literally the end. And that's when I
Also,
was like,
at
I
no
guess I
point
like
did I think he put the razor in the shoe, because he said, no, but I wanted it to happen. Is that wrong? And I was like, that seems like a pretty honest response.
I know, but
To admit, and it seems like even he thought that was enough to get him killed. He was like the tone of the conversation. He was like, they might kill me now. I'll just tell them, I was glad to have served the Brotherhood. And it was like, well, he admitted something that could have gotten killed.
well,
Seems like he was being pretty honest.
when he said that the first time, like I didn't, but I wanted it to happen. I thought, oh, I guess he didn't do it. But then everything, basically, anytime he's left with a moral decision to make, and how close he lingers towards doing the bad thing, including killing Knight Titus, which he did, it just made me think, well,
Kill's a strong word. He Batman solved it. Okay,
he didn't save him.
He didn't kill him. He just didn't have to save him.
And also, I wouldn't have saved him either. He was being a jerk. He literally made him
He was such a jerk.
Oh, my dude! All right. I loved, actually, probably my favorite character. I'm not even joking. Is the bully of Maximus, because that was hilarious. The entire thing.
Their dynamic was hilarious.
Yeah. I liked, yeah, the T-boys. Okay,
Yeah,
such
that guy,
like Bradby, bro.
He was very funny.
And I liked it when I love that scene when he's talking about Maximus. He's like, well, I bullied him, and it wasn't personal. I just hoping he would bully somebody someday, and all that. I was like, wow. And so that's something I also love. Is the oh god, they literally boil down the morals to basically a child's understanding. So I like the dumbed down morals of everything. Okay, so you got the whole Lucy with the vault. She's like, the golden rule, mother effers. She lives by that. And then you have, even though Thaddeus would bully Maximus, he still was like, well, it was nothing personal. I did, and people thought it was funny, and I just thought I would hope he would do it one day. And then there was like, the whole idea, what was it at the end about like, oh, well, he did it to me, so I thought I should do it to him. Somebody said it at one point. I just thought it was a good distinction of like, oh, why do people do things, and why is it good, and why is it bad, etc., and so forth. It doesn't even matter if there is no society, which is fun. The ghoul. A lot of people said he was their favorite part. I thought there was not enough of the ghoul. Pretty much. I like that he was the thumbs up man. But I also didn't like it because it's like he's not blonde, and they didn't really frame his thumbs up the same way as that picture. I was like, effing frame it up. But yeah.
I don't know if you heard, Noah, but Justice thought Titus's name was Mike Titus because they kept saying Knight Titus, and he misheard it.
I kept saying Mike Titus, and Jacob's like, what are you saying? I said Mike Titus, and that his name? So, like, when he introduces himself to Lucy, he's like, when she's like, "What's your name?" He says, "Mike
Why?
Titus."
Why would you think everybody was constantly calling him by his first and last name? Everybody's just like Mike Titus, Mike
Because that's how
Titus,
he
Mike
introduced
Titus.
himself. That's how he always introduced himself.
Everybody introduces themselves with two names. That doesn't mean you call them by them both every time.
I guess.
Go, I'm Mike Titus. Okay, I will only ever call you Mike Titus.
Man. I'm gonna go ahead and go through all the Twin Peaks stuff now. Okay.
God dang you.
So, it was hilarious how Kyle MacLachlan, who plays Lucy's father in Fallout, he is the star of he's literally the main dude in Twin Peaks. So, it is funny. And I don't know if he did a wave. No, like, or I meant to do a thumbs up, but he did do a wave, and the way he did a wave at one point in the first episode, I was like, that's so Cooper. That's his name in Twin Peaks. Yeah. And then he gets kidnapped, and much like the show, it sort of hijacked all my Twin Peaks time, and I had to hurry up and finish Fallout. And then he comes back in the final episode, and he's held hostage, like my Twin Peaks time was, and I thought that was crazy.
Okay, those aren't real Twin Peaks comparisons.
Okay. The blind, not blind, but not blindfold. What do you call it? Effin one eye patch lady, holding that one guy hostage basically to be the new father of her child. Similar situation of that happens in Twin Peaks. What else? There's so many more, but now it's been some days. God dang it. Oh yeah, and then as soon as I got back to Twin Peaks had a whole nuclear scene, and I was like,
oh,
that's crazy. Like it was literally like I couldn't escape. It was like I left Twin Peaks to go into Fallout, but as soon as I leave Fallout, I'm back in Fallout when I'm in Twin Peaks. Yeah, and also I think there was something. I don't know if I read an interview or if I just heard something about it, but I think somebody had mentioned Twin Peaks as being a major influence on probably the show. Just the way, also the vibe they have in the vaults is very Twin Peaksy in a way. It's like, I don't know. It's like folksy, at least in Vault 33 anyway. Folksy. And everybody's just sort of nice, even though everything's really weird. It's interesting. I liked it. What else? Now I want to get to the ending. Because there's another thing I didn't like. Or I liked it a little bit, but I was also like... it didn't hit me quite as hard as I wanted it to hit. It hit a little hard, but not as hard as I wanted. So her father, he nuked Shady Sands.
Mm-hmm.
And... that was messed up, but this is what I didn't love about it. I feel like there's always some massive, like, oh, wow, my father did all this? Or my son did all this? Like, don't you think it's strange? Especially, and this is based on very little knowledge I have of Fallout, but even just for this show at all. I mean, I guess it helped that her father was stolen, I guess, but it's just kind of like, okay, Miss... random person in the vault whose father just so happens to be the guy that did everything. And you take that and stack that on top of the whole Vault 31 thing, I'm like, there might be too many things in this one man. Might be too many things. Oh yeah, there was one more thing. Okay. At the end, in that final episode, when they do a flashback and you sort of see that guy de-aged, at first I thought the de-aging was terrible. And that could be it. But I think it's because, like, Twin Peaks is shot and looks so, like, 90s and fuzzy. I literally think they might have trained, like, the deepfake or whatever on the Twin Peaks footage. And that's why when it's flashed back, right, his face looks extra fuzzy around the edges. But, yeah. I thought that was interesting. Yeah. I do like the idea of, like, so that guy, he nuked Shady Sands. And the whole reason was, they were hoping they would have been the ones to repopulate the Earth, and then they found out someone else already did, and they were like, well, F it. It's supposed to be us. And they blew them up. Is Shady Sands being blown up canon?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it is now.
Oh.
I don't
No, I mean
know
before
much.
this, though. Was it common
I don't know.
knowledge or whatever?
No, it was not.
Okay, interesting. Noah, how did you feel about the... So, Jacob, let me ask you this. So when I said that Greg had told me that they were going to Vegas, or he implied it and I guessed it, and he said, there's nothing in there that implies they're going to Vegas. Were you lying to me?
I don't think so. Did they go? They didn't go to Vegas, did they?
Yeah! Didn't they? No?
No, they didn't. I don't think so.
Didn't Kyle
They were
McLaughlin?
going to, maybe. I don't think they went.
Or
they didn't go to
her
Vegas.
father? Her father?
Are you talking about the very end?
Yeah, the very end.
Yeah, I think that was the strip.
Yeah, Jacob. But what's so annoying was my coworker at work, I was literally still on episode like 2 or 3, and he was like, well, you won't really get where they're setting up season 2 unless you play the games, and that's literally all he said. And I said, oh, Budge, you just spoiled it. They're going to Vegas. And he's like, well, wait, I don't know. I'm like, yo, great, you just told me. You just told me they're going to Vegas. Like, anytime some Fallout... let me tell you, Noah, and not just you, but mainly I'm going to tell all the Fallout fans. You ain't slick! You mother-effers talk about Fallout enough. It's not... You're not going to stinking vaguely hint at something. Like, as the number of times I've heard people just swoon over New Vegas, you're going to pretend to me, oh, they're teasing something for Season 2, and you gotta play the game. Oh, thank you. That's literally all I need to know.
Most people who have played a Fallout game, I am willing to bet, have not played New Vegas. It's just that the people who did will never, for the life of them, shut up about it. And that's why you've heard so much about New Vegas.
You think so? Or do you think even people who've not played it just say it's the best?
No. I don't think that's the case, because so many more people have played Fallout 4.
Oh, I love the fact that in the vault, like, they were effing getting it on, like, with cousins. Like, that was, like, just normal. And she's like...
Yeah, like, you would think that would have to be in a vault.
I guess so.
I think I remember reading somewhere, so, like, I don't know how canon it is that, like, Vault 69 is, like, one guy and 1,000 women or something like that.
That would be hilarious.
I think I remember reading someone talking about how, like, that's doomed to fail, like, very shortly.
Well, yeah. Unless they have... Oh, no.
No, there is no unless. Like, unless they open it, unless they get out. Because genetically, they're effed very quickly. He immediately has to reproduce with his own children.
Oh, man.
And that is horrible for your genetics.
Wait, he has to?
Yeah, he would. Oh, I mean, or yeah, I guess the women too. Yeah, if he has a son, then yeah.
Well, I was just thinking, it's tough, but he would have to impregnate, obviously, more than one woman at one time, and then the other women would have to get it on with, hopefully, whatever boys came out from the first batch.
Right. And that's, yeah, but then also, okay, and then immediately afterwards, those children, like, are going to end up with their own children. Like, it's going to take, like, less than 2 generations to get there.
Right. Man.
So genetically, they're effed.
I kind of liked Vault. Was it 4 or 44?
4.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember people. There's a popular mod for Fallout 4 that adds a vault called Vault 4, and people were like, "Dang, you just had to f up with their little lore."
No,
because now there's a canonical Vault 4.
Oh wow!
So now that mod.
So what was Vault 4 in the mod?
Noah, you played through all of Vault 4, Forville?
Yeah, it's called Vorville.
Yeah, so it's a vault. There's like a town outside of the vault, and they've been there for a long time, waiting for the vault to open, and it opens sometime after you get there. It's a vault where, like, there's a robot that grants people's wishes.
Oh, that's cool. Is that it? Or is there nefarious things also?
I mean, your wish could be kind of nefarious, but it's not nefarious itself.
Interesting. I also love the Walton Goggins character meeting whoever voices those robots.
Mr.
I wish
Hazelwood.
they had gotten the actual guy that voices the robots.
Yeah, they should have got
Voice
the
the
actual
robot.
guy.
Here's the thing: as soon as I heard the voice, like I know that actor. He's in another show I watch called What We Do in the Shadows. I was like, okay, so we're going to see him then, because they wouldn't just have that guy for a voice. And yeah, they probably should have got the game, but who knows? Who knows what that guy looks like?
Nick
Is he even an
Valentine.
actor? Oops. But yeah. But I just love that idea of like. I do like the whole idea of these are actors. Like Walton
Yeah.
Goggins is just an actor. The voice of those
also,
robots.
But also veterans.
Well, yeah, that's true. True. I like how it dealt with all of that, though. I also love the whole communism and, first of all, the red scaredness of it all, period.
Yeah.
But I loved when they had him spy on his wife and all this jazz. Like, just like, it felt so much like, oh, this probably, like, they probably had stuff like this happen in the real 50s in some ways. Or if they didn't, like, I don't know. It's just a fun idea of, like, well, what if the communists you were scared of really were meeting up and having these secret meetings and plotting against,
I think
capitalism.
the whole fiduciary responsibility thing about Vault-Tec, where they were like, oh, they have to make sure the vaults get used, so they're probably going to bomb us themselves. I feel like it's a bit silly unless you supply the context that war was almost certainly going to happen anyway, and I do believe that's basically true.
I think that was conveyed in the first episode, though. It was conveyed very much that there were, like, tensions.
In no world does bombing all of society grant you more money than keeping society alive, even if you sell vaults. But if you take into account that war is probably going to happen anyway, and you just go, oh, now we'll have control over the conditions of it by doing it ourselves, then it's like, okay,
Yeah,
that
you
makes
can
more sense.
tell all the rich people to hide immediately.
Also, that's probably Mr. House in that small council meeting. And in the game, New Vegas, he mentions that he had predicted war was likely to happen. But him being in that meeting kind of implies he knows exactly when it's going to happen because he's part of the people planning it to happen.
Oh, man.
I do feel like, I mean, so yeah. But again, if you supply the context of, but war was already very likely to occur anyway, then I think both dialogue would make sense. Him saying, I predicted it was going to happen, and that's why I prepared. And him just knowing it's going to happen because he's in that room.
Man.
Also,
Otherwise, it
there's
seems like error.
still a possibility that Vault-Tec weren't the ones who dropped the bombs.
Right.
Like, yeah, they suggested it, but it, China could have still dropped the bombs anyway before they did. Because there was a part with, at the very beginning, the very first episode when the bombs dropped, you would think that the mom would have got them in a vault beforehand if they were the ones who
Oh,
dropped
you're
the bombs.
right.
Yeah.
That's such a good. Oh, fudge! That's a good point. And I also wanted. I was thinking that too, because like at the end, the Walton Goggins like, I need to find my wife and daughter.
He says my family, and I feel, and it was like, all right, if the daughter hadn't survived though, would he say, "Where's my family"?
Wait, yeah, where? So, like, at the beginning, in the first episode, he takes his daughter and they ride off. Do you think he rode
they
off
must
and,
have-
like, stuck her in a vault or
They were
something?
either very close to a vault, but then how did he become a ghoul? We
Interesting.
still don't know a lot. We still don't know a lot
Yeah,
about.
but that's what I like. That's what I like, though. If you're gonna give me A, then give me this for season 2. Because like the mere fact that he's even still trying to trying to find his family implies that he's still trying to talk to his wife, and I'm very interested at what that conversation is going to effing be like. And like you said, maybe they didn't blow it up, but if they either way, it's still effed up. He knows that she wanted to blow them all up.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, what the fuck is all that about then? What? Man. And I also like how his wife very much was like taking advantage of his stardom to try to get him to sell those effing vaults.
Right. Also, I don't know if it's already part of the lore or not, but the idea that Vault-Tec's opening up that council thing so that those other company leaders can give them ideas for vault experiments. They're all brainstorming ideas, and it was like that would make a lot of sense if Vault-Tec just like sold that. They're like, oh, you pay us this much money, you invest in us, and you get to design your own experiment.
Design your own experiment and potentially rule the world if it works.
Yeah, that's the big thing. You'll potentially rule the world if your experiment succeeds in weeding out the weak, and fermenting the strong. Then you're gonna be on top of society.
Man.
Your type of person, your preferred type of person, will be on top of society.
I do like that. I like that. Like, if it were me, if I was doing a season 2, I would start at a different vault with different characters, and you would meet, like, Lucy and the Ghoul again on the road, doing, and, like, you could either join them, or just be like, okay, well, alright, now that we met them again, now they're back in the show, or whatever. But I would do, like, a leftover season 2 style, let's go to another vault that is vastly different, and see how it, connects to the stuff we are right now. Yeah, that'd be very cool. I do like the possibilities, and how they basically set that up is like every one of these vaults is a new reality. Pretty much, basically, is what they're selling in a way.
Imagine how scary it was for. Was it?
Oh, Walton Goggins.
Imagine how scary it was for him when his wife's like, "I'm trying to get us into a vault," and he's like, "We're gonna get into a vault," and she's like, "No, one of the good ones."
Oh my god. Yes, yeah. Oh my god.
He's like, what do you mean?
What do you mean by that? What are you saying about that?
It's inherent to the design that we live, right? That's the whole point. What are you talking? What do you mean one of the good ones?
When I heard that, I was kind of like, oh no. Like, I hate the idea of you sell a vault that isn't 100%, like, every single vault should be Vault 33 or Vault 31 or whatever.
As a vault. That's it. It's just advertised as a vault. And it's like, no.
Oh, well, this vault's a little bit thinner, a little bit closer to the surface. Well, F you! Some I paid for.
Some of them are genuinely worse than just dying in a nuke blast.
I wanted further on the Vault 4. So, what do you think their deal was?
Their deal was apparently some sort of genetic mutation.
Yeah, you're right. They were a genetic mutation.
So there were genetic mutations, and at some point, the mutations fought the scientists in charge and killed them, and then they just lived peacefully. And
I remember
in the outside world into the vault.
That's right, because the Cyclops guy was like, "That was my Uncle Gary," or something like that. Yeah. And it was like a weird effing monster thing.
Yes.
That was funny. He's like, I actually haven't seen that video in a couple years. I kind of
it was pretty funny that Lucy and Maximus effed those people, and those people were 100% fine. They didn't do anything.
They didn't do anything to them, and but also they went on. They were fine. They didn't die. Nobody died. I don't think.
But one guy got acid thrown in his face. Another guy got launched with a punch from a power armor. And then they almost died when Maximus was going to take their fusion core. Yeah,
it's true. I didn't think... See, right, there's another moment where I was like, who is Maximus? And so this is why I'm a little frustrated. Because now that I know that he is inherently closer to a good person than a bad person, that scene, I wonder, in retrospect, will it even play the same? Will I be like, oh, come on, Max, please do it. Or I'd just be like, well, I already know he's just going to give it back. Because why would Max just F up this whole place?
He would not have given that back if Lucy didn't make him do it.
You think?
He was she was like, give him back the future core. He was like, but the armor, my armor though. And she was like, I don't want to be this. And he was like, okay. But yeah, so if she wasn't there, he was not going to give it back.
I guess. I do love how he looks at that armor. It's literally like, yeah, every time he looked at the armor, or like struggled with the armor, or trying to get the armor, or finding people about this effing armor, I'm like, if you're nothing about this suit, you shouldn't have it. That was just playing in my head the entire time. Just Tony Stark being like, if you're nothing about this suit.
He has an idea of being a hero kind of guy, but he is extremely comfortable making the compromises that the Wasteland forces him to make that challenge that idea.
Man.
He has a very childish mindset.
Yeah.
And I loved that. I loved the character for it.
Well, that's why I also like. They are dumb. That's why I like.
They are,
Yeah.
yeah. At some point, like naivete just becomes being dumb, and it's funny, also kind of believable.
But even then, though, it's like Lucy is technically smarter in some things, but they are. It's kind of like street smarts versus book smarts in a way, but it's like kind of different. Like Lucy is willing to cut off a head or cut off butt jerky, but she doesn't like it. But she doesn't have qualms about doing it. Like I don't know. It's just interesting. Like she's not unwilling to do certain things. She just has feels certain ways about doing some things. And then like Mike Titus is literally like or Knight or whatever. He's just like, well, I don't know, F it. Or him and the ghoul, he is actually like, I know this is wrong, but I'm gonna just do it. Because who cares? It's the effing wasteland. I like it's like the good and the bad and the ugly, literally. Except, I guess Maximus isn't as bad as I thought he was. But I thought he was the bad, and I thought the ghoul was the ugly, and well, Lucy was the good.
Noah, you played all the Fallouts. Where's the vials that the ghouls have to drink if they're starting to turn feral? Is that completely new?
Yeah, it's pretty new.
Oh, that's new. So you could not. Okay, so yeah, I thought that was convenient. I thought it was sad that he was starting to turn, but I also was like, well, it's convenient, and now he has like a bunch of vials, and I guess we don't have to worry about that anymore for now. I don't know.
It hasn't really applied if it was a pre-war or post-World War Kim. Also, some people say that it completely stops becoming a feral, but I think it just staves it off a bit.
Yeah, I think it just stays off a bit because he did have a box. Well, I didn't even know what it was at first, but I think like when he dealt with Lucy the first time trying to get the head, he opened up his box of vials and they were all broken. He's like, God dang it!
What was I forget what the guy's name was? The feral that they ran into.
I know
he made it sound like the only reason he was going feral is because he couldn't get a vial in a long time. But then the way he spoke to Walton Goggins, it sounded like he's surprised, even with vials, that Walton Goggins could not
live
be
that
feral
long
for this long.
Oh,
But then Walton Goggins responds to that surprise by saying, "Well, I've always been good at making money," which implies that really the only secret was to keep having money so you can keep buying vials. So,
but also,
it's unclear
when he sold Lucy to those to that robot doctor thing, he passed out on the doorstep in like 5 minutes.
2 vials for 1 slave? That seems ridiculous. What kind of economy? What the heck?
Man,
how is Jesus Christ? How does anybody buy those vials? 2 for 1 slave.
I think the rule of the wasteland is offer a price that is impossible and then kill them and eat them. Because they won't be able to pay for it anyway.
I almost thought like part of his plan had to be to kill them because I was like 2 vials.
Yeah, I thought going there was some evil plan of his to get more vials than just the 2. But no, it was he hadn't passed out and then Lucy managed to luckily get out.
Also, yeah, I thought that was great. Her golden rule thing. So she tells him, do unto others as you have them do to you. Then she tries to run away and bite his finger off, and he cuts her finger off, which is basically him being like, okay, you took my finger, now I do unto you.
Mm-hmm.
See, now we're actually honestly applying your idea. But then, yeah, after he tries to sell her and she gets the vials, she's like, okay, I'll actually show you what I mean now.
Mm-hmm.
And give you the vials, because that's what I would have someone do unto me.
Dude, when they cut her finger off, I was like, oh, wow. But then they have to put a new finger on. I was like, F you. Thinking commit.
It had to. It's a trigger finger. Both of them had to get a finger back. It's how you shoot a gun.
I guess so.
I don't think you could just shoot a gun with like a middle finger or a ring finger. I think you gotta have an index finger.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I like that part. I like that the robot literally fixed her finger and then was like, I'm just gonna harvest your organs. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
what? I was like, wow. I like the part when they had to have their hands up across that.
The music that played there was funny.
That was hilarious. I was loving it. And I was like, okay, this is great. God dang. But yeah, I guess they were cannibals, and I guess they were like, ooh, we can eat her.
Well, I don't know if they were cannibals.
Well, that's what Maximus said.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, he said they were fiends,
Oh,
and then he said fiends are people who eat people.
oh,
It's kind of weird because fiends are a raider gang in New Vegas.
oh. I think
I only remember fiends seeking buying a bunch of drugs and.
Yeah, they just do
Oh
a
no!
bunch
Yeah,
of drugs.
I remember. Yeah, they did talk about how they eat people.
There was one fiend called Cook,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I always assumed that he cooked and eat people. I don't think they were like specifically known to be cannibals.
Right.
the thumbs up thing I like with the whole.
It was pretty adult. The show, pretty M rated.
Yeah, it's still something I'm kind of struggling with. Is like, yeah, it was gory, but was it gory enough for a show that could be this gory? And yeah, there were like the political and intellectually interesting themes. They didn't really start to play in until like the last 2 or 3 episodes for me, except for the morals, which was fun. But I still, like I said, they've dumbed that stuff down. So it's like the seemingly more pro communism, anti capitalism, this stuff at the end. I was like, wow, this is pretty. This is a lot to chew on here. But I'm still just like, who is the show for if you didn't play the game? Is what I'm sort of like trying to tackle.
I felt like the show was definitely made for people who played the game because they didn't explain nothing.
Yeah, there's a lot of information in there where like you wouldn't get it if you didn't play the games.
like Fallout's whole thing about having a pastish future, then an apocalypse, like they don't explain that.
Right.
Nobody. Yeah, you just roll with it. I mean, I guess well, probably Fallout 4 is the one that explains that most of all because you get to live in the pre-war for a second.
Oh. That's one thing I also don't love. I love that they used all the 50s music that you normally hear in Fallout.
Yeah, it's literally songs that are in Fallout.
Yeah, and they use all those specific. So I hope they never use those again, because I'm tired of hearing them in any context in Fallout or even in other shows. Or I'm done with those. Give me new 50 songs I've never heard.
Some criticism that there's been about Fallout was like, it's been 200 years since the bombs dropped, and then even before that, just because the culture widely maintained one theme, doesn't mean everybody should have been on that one theme. They should expect, like, there's no reason you couldn't have had Green Day back in 2077, and nobody listens to it because they like the show boppy 50s music. But there's no reason you wouldn't have a Green Day being like, yeah, we're against the curve, we're our own thing.
Or wouldn't it have been cool to have had
random Green Day popping in? You're like, what is going on? And then after the bomb drop, in the post-apocalypse, people have instruments. They can play music. They're making their own stuff. And I mean, it would make sense that they'd be largely derivative of what was still playing on the radio. But still.
And even then, they couldn't broadcast it. If you did hear new music, it could only be in one place.
Well, okay, they have control over radio stations.
But who has radios?
Yeah, they might not understand the tech enough to recreate it. Like if they're playing records, I guess they might be like, well, we don't know how to record music onto a record to then play it in the machine at the radio station. And but then how are they talking on the radio? So no, yeah, they could do live music. They could have a band come in and play into the mic.
Yeah, I do. It's interesting, and yeah, they didn't explain the 50 stuff. It sucks. Like, even though I haven't played the games, I feel like I know too much about Fallout to truly go in 100%. Like, I don't know jack squat, and I'm very curious. Like, somebody who's never even looked at a frame of the game, what they get from it. I'm very curious about that. Yeah, and this, I still kind of, I'm still sticking to a little bit of my criticism of some things seem a little too clean. Even when they were trying to make Lucy look a little bit more roughed up, I don't think there was any point I was like, man, she's really been through the ringer. The closest time was probably when she lost her finger, and even then I was like, I don't know. I did love the monsters. They used a lot of practical effects for these monsters. It was clear.
Oh yeah. You know what? The only time I was like, oh, that CG isn't good, was the rad roaches. Everything else, I was like, it's all right, it's good. But the rad roaches, every time they showed up, I was like, those look not good.
Yeah, I went crazy about the roaches, but like that first like mutated bear looking thing.
Yeah.
I was like, that either is super expensive CGI or some of that is a little, or at least based off
Yeah, I
something
think
they
some
made.
shots were just pure practical, and then a couple were CGI.
Yeah. And then there was another one. Oh yeah, the giant thing. That ate the head at first and then puked it out later. That was
Yeah.
definitely
With
practical.
the fingers in its mouth.
Yeah, I was like, oh wow, interesting. That's a lot of money. Oh, and there's a part where they walked into a hub that looked like Fallout 3. You remember that? It was like I don't know if you would call it a hub, but it was literally like, it looked like a little area where like, oh, well, that's where the market person is, and that's where you sell stuff, and blah blah
Oh,
blah.
you mean like
Philly.
it looked like Megaton?
Yeah, Philly. Yeah, it looked like Megaton. Is that from Fallout 3?
Yeah, that's the first town you'd go to in Fallout 3.
Yeah. I was like, wow, I know this. Man. But, it's funny, I was telling Greg at work how much I was like, I mean, it was, it's a good season, a show. But also it feels like another, like, the show of the week type of thing. It's like, oh, well, this show's trending, and now everybody's watching it. And then you watch it and then it's over. It's like, okay, then. I mean, it was good. It was good, I guess. No, it was good. But I was not like, wow! Wow! But I liked it more than I thought I would, I think. Not to say I thought I wouldn't like it at all. I just didn't know what to expect, I guess. And then I'm not saying, I don't know if it 100% gave me what I wasn't expecting, but it gave me more than I was expecting. It's more like, I guess.
If they're actually going to New Vegas, people are saying like, well, now they're gonna have to decide how
What's canon?
New Vegas ended.
So what, does it blow up or something? Or not blow up?
Not blow up, but who's in charge would depend on how you played the game.
Also, how many years does this take place after New Vegas?
I don't remember.
It could be, well, I don't know. I don't know the
No,
rules.
it's years after Fallout 4, that's for sure. But I don't know how. I don't remember how many.
Well, I don't know. I kind of wish they killed Lucy's dad at the end. I kind of wish Lucy killed him, to be honest. Because especially when her mom is like a ghoul, that was effed
Right.
up.
Well, I mean, we still don't know the context of him blowing up Shady Sands. Maybe he had a reason. Wait,
I don't think there's a good reason to kill. I mean, I don't know how many millions. Was it millions? A lot of people.
also we don't know if it was like a unilateral decision. Like, if he did it because he wanted to do it for his reasons, or if he was supposed to do it.
Oh, like
told
following
to
orders?
by other Vault 31 people.
Yeah. Oh man, I felt so bad.
Like, did Betty know about it? Was Betty in on it?
I don't think Betty knows as much as. Oh wait, Betty's the
The
black woman, the Deadpool's roommate woman.
yeah.
That's the same woman. Yeah, I think she knows everything. I think she is stinkier than effing Stinky. She's evil, probably.
Oh, alive.
I felt bad when Moises Arias walked into Vault 31 and had to basically decide, do I get into one of these cryo tubes or effing take my luck and hope someone finds me like tomorrow?
I don't think he should have What's to stop that little robot from killing him when he tries to freeze himself?
If I was Moises Arias, I would probably wait until I was like a couple hours from starving to death or something before I would. Or,
I would just break the robot first.
Yeah, I would definitely break the robot. Yeah. Surely someone's going to come across him, whether it's somebody he's friends with.
Yeah, I don't.
That's the
I
question.
don't know. I don't know.
Man.
Who would?
Also, it's interesting. So it's these 3 vaults: Vault 31, 2, and 3, and they're connected. And 32 is destroyed. They still didn't. So it seemed like they all killed themselves, right?
It seems like 32 found out what was going on, and they killed themselves and each other. Like, they had written on the wall, like, we know, and kill the management, or something.
Yeah. That's interesting. Why? Like, why would they kill themselves, though? Why not just leave?
I don't know. Well, maybe...
They could have just left. Like, they were like, we gotta commit suicide now! Or you could take a chance outside.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe they were killing the ones that were from 31. I don't remember what all you saw of their dead bodies. Some of them looked like they were killing each other. One guy was, like he was tied up and had his leg cut off and was tortured and killed. So maybe 32 people killed the 31 people that were living in 32.
Oh, maybe. Well, some looked like they definitely killed themselves. Like, I'm killing myself now. Type, kill themselves. I don't know. But lots of questions there. And that's the stuff, I was just clinging on to the most, was like, what effing is going on in these effing vaults? Because, like, the Wasteland, and like I said, the show sort of makes an argument for the Wasteland, because the vaults are obviously, some sort of metaphor for, like, the rich elites. And the Wasteland's, like, not reality, but more like the, take your chances with the barter system in a way, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily, it's not glamorous by any means, but...
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I think Fallout 4 does that.
Oh?
Yeah. I don't think it's much of a spoiler. Also, you've already had it spoiled to you probably, to say that in Fallout 4 there's a group called the Institute. And the Institute is like pristine. They're clean. And they want to redefine humanity. And kind of like the Vault people want to do in the show. They want to be the ones that bring back civilization in the image that they think is appropriate. But yeah, I'd say if you oppose them, your argument is kind of like, yeah, the Wasteland's dirty and janky and messed up, but it's people trying to survive, and they're actually doing it, and it's going to work. It's going to work. This is what survived the war.
Yeah,
and it's going to work.
The vaults have to live under the assumption that whatever is on the surface will never work.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what
and
we
the
did?
Institute does that too, and so that's why Fallout 4 is the same idea.